And welcome back, everybody, to Zone 4. I am Brant Fowler, aka the Gonzo Goose, back with you for another installment of
Zone 4 Top 5.
Alright, so this week, very heavy Marvel, very heavy Marvel top 5. A couple of other companies, no DC in this top 5, but it was a very tough top 5 pick. There were only a handful of titles, maybe 2 or 3 that I really didn't enjoy this week. So, very competitive week for the top 5 spots. But jumping right into the list,
Number 5.
Number 5 is a book that the first issue was kind of in the middle for me. It was nowhere near a top 5 list. This week, this issue really picked up for me. It kind of surprised me how much I enjoyed it, but this is All New X Factor number 2. And if you watched the Dark Imagery Inc. live show, you know we all talked about it, and most of us were either middle of the road or negative about the first issue. I was okay with it, but it didn't blow me away or anything. This particular issue I really enjoyed, though. We got to see more of the action as the team was on their first mission together, and they encountered some other heroes and battled this big gigantic villain. And excuse me, I'm a little bit under the weather. And we had some digs towards Quicksilver through past things that he's done. That was fun to watch. The interaction between Gambit and Quicksilver, their exchanges and everything was fun. And the art I thought was even improved here. There was one scene with Quicksilver where it showed him darting in between, and you saw these phased out, shadowed versions of him around the panel. It was really nicely done. This issue really surprised me, and that's why it lands on this week's top 5 at number 5.
Number 4.
Number 4 is another all-new title from Marvel, and I actually wanted to like this one a lot more. It did still make my top 5, but I was hoping that it would be like 1 or 2. This is, of course, All New X-Men number 22, and this is the first part of the trial of Jean Grey. And while it was a really solid issue, really good, there was some fun scenes with Cyclops, or young Scott and young Jean, arguing across across Angel, and all the while in the background towards the end of the issue you have the Shi'ar coming in and taking away Jean Grey, and it was a nice build up. It was fun to see it play out, but it wasn't an issue that just totally blew me away, and I had to put it as my number 1. That's why it's a little bit lower on the list this time. But it was still a very, very good issue. Nice kickoff, nice beginning to this Trial of Jean Grey story, and I can't wait to see where it goes next with Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's why All New X-Men number 22 lands at number 4.
Number 3.
Number 3 is a book that I am sorely, sorely behind on, but when I am caught up, it is usually in my top rankings. But ever since this story, All Out War, has begun, I've kind of been 2 or 3 issues behind consistently. And of course, I'm talking about The Walking Dead number 120. And this particular issue is in the midst of the battle between the various groups, and things are getting heated. A lot of people are getting hurt. Sides are being chosen, all kinds of shakeups, explosions, shots fired. Everything is just chaos, and a couple of big things happen in this particular issue, as far as what happens to certain characters, and how the tide has kind of changed and where alliances are and all this stuff throughout this issue. So it was another fantastic installment of The Walking Dead, and I can't recommend checking out All Out War enough. It's been a great story from a great series, and that's why The Walking Dead number 120 lands at number 3.
Number 2.
Number 2 is a book that is involved in a current storyline that I'm really enjoying. There's only been a couple of issues that have really 2 or 3 issues throughout this story arc that has been 7 parts plus 2 preludes so far that have really stood out to me as fantastic. The rest of it very good, but this is one of the 2 issues in memory that just kind of blew me away. And I am talking about Transformers Robots in Disguise number 25. This is chapter 7 of Dark Cybertron, and this particular issue had kind of the culmination of several battles. You had the culmination of Galvatron and Shockwave versus the combined forces of Soundwave and Bumblebee's forces, and the way that whole battle resolves and what happens, there's like this interaction between Bumblebee and Galvatron, and Megatron's in there in the mix too, and then you have Orion Pax, aka Optimus, and Rodimus and their crew in the Dead Universe, trying to figure their way out of that trap. You have Ultra Magnus and his group on Metroplex trying to battle off the Minicons and other threats involved and everything. And so there's a lot going on in these various parts. You have Starscream realizing that the entire world is crumbling around him, literally, and everyone has abandoned him, and you can't wait to see what happens next with him. And so this was just a fantastic issue. There was humor, there was drama, there was action, everything you could ask for in a book. So that's why Transformers Robots in Disguise number 25 lands at number 2.
Number 1.
Alright, so number 1 is a book that has been on this countdown before, and it is a book that surprised me with the first issue, and the second issue surprised me even more. This is Avengers World number 2, and this issue kind of scaled down the focus onto one group, one team's mission. As we saw in the first issue, there were several teams dispersed across the globe to deal with various threats. In this particular issue, we had just this one team of Smasher, Cannonball, and Sunspot, and mainly the story was about Smasher on AIM Island as they were captured. And like I said, it was very focused. We had flashbacks to her past, hints at her grandfather's past, some things that happened with her that I'm not going to give away as the issue ended that will see some repercussions in the future. Meanwhile, we have Cap and Hulk trying to figure out how to save them from AIM Island and trying to organize all these other missions at the same time. So it was a very, very good issue. I give it a 5 out of 5 on my review on Dark Adventure Inc., and that is, of course, why it lands at number 1. So I hope you enjoyed this week's Top 5, and I hope you're enjoying this series of the weekly Top 5 here on Zone 4's YouTube channel, and all the other Top 5 lists that we will eventually incorporate. Like I've said in past videos, it won't always just be me, but these weekly 5, at least for now, are me. So let me know in the comments below what you think about my picks, what your picks are, and if you're liking this series on YouTube or not. If you think it should be named Top 4 instead of Top 5 because it says Zone 4, let us know in the comments below. I know it's kind of silly, but it's been suggested, so why not? So yeah, everything, just leave a comment and give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Check out the Zone 4 podcast each and every Friday on zone4podcast.com, comicrelated.com, and as of February 14th, Comic Frontline's YouTube channel. And it's also found on comicspodcasts.com, on iTunes, on Stitcher. Just look Zone 4 podcast and you'll find us. So yeah, check that out. Check out comicrelated.com. Check out comicfrontline.com. And for now, darkadventureinc.com. All kinds of stuff to check out, but definitely come back here next week for another installment of the Top 5 Weekly. Thanks for watching, everybody.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production.